Four. And we're live with paraglidingtalk.com in sunny Southern California. And you're here with your host, Robert Michaels. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm stoked. We have an excellent show. I always freak myself out because I see in my peripheral the chat bar going, and then all of a sudden my screen comes up and it's me yelling at me.
You're like, oh my God, who's that guy?
Why do I do that to myself every time? So glad that you're all here. We got people logging in as we speak. I'm excited. We've got Max was just in the chat. Max Martini from Brazil. He's hanging out. He'll pop in here probably any second. Pair Perspectives with us tonight as a moderator, and he's a paramotor pilot. His name is Neil. And our special guest tonight is Giuseppe Free. We met at Torrey Pines. He is an acro pilot, and he's got some pretty cool stories from what I've heard from other people. Not even first person stories. That's how rad he is. And so we're pretty excited. The first time I saw him was at Torrey Pines, and he was hucking some big old gnarly sats right next to the cliff's edge. And I was just barely trying to stay aloft, and he was tearing it up. And I said, "Who is that guy, man? That was amazing." And so when we started this show, people started coming up to me and talking to me, and they were like, "Hey, you know who you need to get on that show is, Giuseppe is, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I think I know who he is." So I introduced myself and I asked him if he would come on the show, and here he is tonight, folks. So we are in for a treat. We're going to try to keep it inside of an hour tonight because Giuseppe is technically on the clock right now. He's working. And if you show him the background real quick, Giuseppe. Let me see if I can put his screen up. You have to talk for just a second so your screen pops up.
All right. Well, we're here at about 4,200 feet on top of Mount Palomar. And this is where I call home part of the time. Been working on this for about a year. There's the abode. And we launch and land right here. It's kind of like ski in, ski out. And it is already a San Diego Hang Gliding and Paragliding Association flying site, but Robin found out this was for sale, and this is his project for a while.
Yeah, I love it. I was talking to him the other day about it and some of the next big steps and installs and things that are going up there. I can't wait to go up there and see it in person. It's beautiful up there.
Well, it's nice, and like I said, it's already a flying site, but we're trying to create something that has a little more infrastructure and for people to be able to camp out eventually, and pond to swim in and cool off and stuff like that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Kind of like what Marshall has, but there'll be eventually some campsites and this is Wi-Fi right here that I'm on. It's I don't have good cell phone reception here, but we do have Wi-Fi, so
yeah,
it makes it nice. I can still connect with people.
I heard you run a mean backhoe.
Yeah, I was living up in the woods for many years, and so I do have a couple other talents besides flying these gliders around. And it didn't take long before that got found out, and I'm back up in the mountains and dropping trees and moving boulders. But this has been really fun, like to be part of creating a place to be able to fly and shaping it just the way I would like it. It's been really fun.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I can't wait to go up there. I got super inspired when I was talking to Robin the other day, and I really, hopefully you guys will open the gate if I come up there. It's super awesome.
Oh yeah. Uh-huh.
They're fortifying as we speak. They're building this gnarly wall that will I was, if I understand right, kind of mixture of metal and wood and concrete, and So it sounds
It's
like
going to be about a 10-foot fence, and it's not just for security, but we are kind of creating more of a grand entrance when you finally get all the way up here after 7 miles up the dirt road. That it's people are going to be able to easily find the place, and we're going to be able to keep the place secure from people that are knowing that it isn't. We're surrounded by Cleveland National Forest and the Palomar Mountain State Park, so a lot of people think that this is part of the park, and so we're letting them know that there's a separation here.
It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Have you
It
guys?
is a park. It's just a different park.
Yeah, an air park.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, do you have you top landed there already?
Multiple times. I can take off right outside the trailer here and land right back where I started. Sometimes it's like, okay, it's still a little bit too much thermic activity, and I'm like, okay, I guess I got to stay in the air for a little while longer. And then there's a few times where if you miss like the first one or so, you can end up landing down a little below, and then hike back up.
Hold on, you're feeding back, Max. Let me put him on mute for just a second. There we go. That's Max Martini. Max, do you have some headphones by any chance? Yeah, once you go live, then it starts feeding back. So, Max, Max, I'm not going to ask Max. Giuseppe, you have you've got some incredible skills. We're going to talk about that in just a second, but I want to ask you, how did you get into paragliding?
If we want to go to the first inspirations, I lived in Salt Lake City in middle school, and I would drive by the point of the mountain. This is back in 1984. I could see people flying hang gliders there. And so I always have been an adventurous person wanting to do these different sports, and I saw that. But then I kind of forgot about it because you don't see it. In the late 90s, I started to see a couple things on TV about paragliding. And I was like, oh, man, I really got to do that. And it wasn't until May of 2000, a friend had started flying in southern Utah. And I was like, well, can we do this? And he's like, oh, you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. So the next day I had my first lesson. And I remember the night before my first lesson, I was adding up all the costs in my head. And it was pretty funny because in my head, I'm like, all right, I'm a paraglider pilot now. And I just need to do this, and I got this. And even off the first day, I'm like, my vacation's over. I got to talk this guy into coming to where I live so he can teach me to fly there. And got my first day, and then the guy agreed to come to where I live. I used to live in Northern California. There was no paragliding there at that time. And I had seen some hang glider pilots, learned to fly in 14 days, got the crash course, 14 days lessons, and then he was gone. And that was, May of 2000.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then I quickly learned that I did not know enough to not get hurt, ending up in a tree. I won't go into that story. It takes too long. But that I was like, I have to go. And I then took my first SIV from Enlo O'Connor. And at the time, Chris Santa Croce and Enlo O'Connor were the two pretty much top guys at that time. There's a few others, Othar. Back then it was they were just with things progressing into the SAT stuff and tumbling. So I kind of entered in a really good time for the progression of acro. And once I found the SIV side where you're not trying to stay up, you're just trying to learn how to fly your glider better and try to understand the energies that can be produced and how to deal with them, how to build them yourself, how to bleed off the energies and get the glider to not stay over your head. I just got hooked on that. where I lived in Humboldt, the flying was not consistent like down here. And so I would work, SIV, work, SIV. So within 2 years of flying, I was being invited to Red Bull competitions and competing with Raul and Felix and Horatio and Chris and Enlo and all these guys. And yeah, that was pretty amazing. Those things are what helped me get the skills, give me goals to strive for. You know, I had this contest coming up. I got to practice. And so that was kind of my route, because I was on a coastal pilot that was 4 hours at the least to get to a thermal site. So,
dude, that is rad. I didn't even know that. I didn't know that you flew with all those guys. We had Chris Santacroce on the show one point.
mm-hmm.
He came on episode, what was it, like episode 5 or episode 6 or something like that. He was a cool interview. We'll try to get him back on again too. That was really fun. He's a really cool he's a cool dude.
Really good guy. Mm-hmm.
You've done a few SIVs with him, you said?
No, actually, I was originally going to do an SIV with him, but something came up and he connected me with Enlo. And I remember in the beginning, I was like, oh man, I'm getting passed off to some other guy. But Enlo and I really got along, became really good brothers. And he's the one that really straightened me out in flying. And I guess I listened well.
So let's fast forward a little bit. You did some competitions. From what I understand, there's not a whole lot of money in these competitions. That's what I've heard over the past few years. It's hard to get. Like I was talking about the X Alps and these guys flying across the Alps and the frustrations that they're having with the sport, and because it's hard to get a crowd. Acro seems like it'd be a little bit easier to get a crowd, but where do you put them? And then it's kind of, there's a lot of logistics. So do you, where do you see the future of acro paragliding? And is it something that we're going to see expand and grow? Is it something that's stagnant? What do you see?
Well, right now, if nobody takes the lead to do something about it, then it's totally stalled out in America. My last contest was 2004 or 2003, and Red Bull just isn't interested in the United States anymore. There's no national competition or anything in the United States. You have to go to Europe if you really want to compete. The last 2 Red Bull contests, we had people from Europe and South America and other parts of the world. But they held those contests in Chicago and in Cleveland. And my opinion, they really did not promote these competitions. I don't know why they chose those venues, and seemed like nobody really cared or showed up. And I would like to see that that somebody or all of us or some collective could like at least just have one national competition. And the competitions are, I see them as just a fun way to get everybody that is into this and at a certain level together to just fly together, have fun. You can only fly as good as you can fly anyway, and then that lands in a ranking, but it's just fun to fly and everybody push each other and get to see it firsthand. But somebody has to, whether it's everybody that does SIVs in the United States, we all gather once a year and do something, but it takes some energy put forth for that.
Yeah. I think one of the main things is that there's you're relying a lot on the weather. I would say more on the weather than most sports. You could probably drive a NASCAR in the rain, but you're not flying in the rain. So I wonder if that's a factor. And then I'm thinking you know, how many people really understand what's happening. With a paramotor, it's a little bit different, I guess. These guys are having air shows and they'll come and do stuff in sync, and you can do whatever you want with the motor on your back.
Mm-hmm.
But with acro, it seems like, I mean, what if you guys are doing in Chicago? Are you guys doing tows?
Yes, that's in the United States. There doesn't seem to be a place, kind of Europe, where you can just launch off a mountain and get over a lake, and everybody's chilling at this lake, and the lake is close to everything else, so it's easy. I mean, we mainly fly at either Don Pedro Reservoir or Lake Berryessa, and it's not close to anything. So to actually get a crowd, it's not. I mean, people don't care.
Right.
So
Unless
it's more
they're
like
already
I would rather not call it an acro competition as an acro festival, and paragliding pilots and acro pilots and people that care would all show up, and that's enough. Really, you don't need like all kinds of people, because they don't understand exactly what th're looking at. They're getting a kink in their neck trying to look up at it,
yeah.
and they just get dizzy watching it on film. So
Yeah. Have you seen those new 360 cameras?
uh-huh.
That footage looks
I
pretty rad.
haven't I played with it much. I've seen a little bit of the Infinite Tumble where they cut everything else out, and that looked pretty good. But
Oh, really?
uh-huh.
I haven't seen that. Max was playing around with one of those cameras the other day, but I didn't get to see the footage yet. I did see a
Mm-hmm.
guy. I met a one of the guys that he watches the show. He was up in France, and he put together a montage, and I met him at Little Black, and he shared with me his footage from when he was in France, and it looks really cool. The
Mm-hmm.
I'm impressed with how, you know, it's just a camera with a screen on both sides. It looks like a little GoPro, and the footage is incredible. And everything's
Mm-hmm.
going to 4K now, so yeah. So who do you draw inspiration from now? You're, you know, well into the sport. You're teaching people. You're taking tandems.
Well, I had taken a break from and had, I think you might have met my two boys. I have a son, Tavio, and Zyri. They're 12 and 14. So that's right around about the time that I had them. I kind of faded out of being really into flying and was finishing a house and, doing that whole thing. And then I got back into flying about 2013, and started doing acro again, and found out that I was considered old school. I was like, what are you talking about? And then, so then I kind of went back, and Brad Ganuscio had never really stopped, doing stuff. Chris still teaches SIVs, but Brad had still progressed to being able to infinite and things like that I didn't know then. And then Max also. So I went back to SIV again, shake off the rust and get back at it, and go to the people that I knew what they were doing, and start going at it again.
That's hilarious.
And
These guys are saying that you're old school and you pioneered the sport, and from in the most part, who told you that you were old school?
well, that's just, there is a designation in acro paragliding of old school and new school, and somehow I was right on the edge of, like, when I quit competing, they were just figuring out the rhythmic sat, and they had not done the infinite just yet.
Oh,
And
wow.
so when the most radical thing I could do back then was a switchy tumble. You would tumble in one way, and on the exit you'd flick the other way and tumble, but we would just hold the brake and tumble, and it would, each time you'd be rolling out of the tumble and losing energy, and you'd have to stop it, or else you'd get a big collapse, right? So we didn't know how to let it go, and we didn't know how to use rhythm to get it go, and the gliders we were flying weren't designed to be let go.
Okay.
So those things all had to happen, and I was still flying, but I was more just doing the stuff I knew at the beach where I lived and at the altitude that I was safe with doing things. And also I started flying paramotors in 2003 because I couldn't get enough airtime. So I started doing that and doing acro with that stuff, and that got me to be able to continue to practice acro and not have to deal with how I got up there.
So Max Martini's with us. I've got him muted. I don't know how to unmute him. He's going to have to, Max, if you can hear me, I need you to log out and then log back in. It doesn't let me unmute when I mute somebody. So before he had his headphones on, it was feedback.
There it is.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. But for some reason, I can still hear myself through you. Like the show is still feeding through.
That's weird because I have headphones.
Huh.
Hey, Max.
Hey.
So have you met Max before, or have you? Okay, so Max has he has a channel. He does a bunch of acro stuff. Incredible pilot. Go check out his channel if you get a chance, or check out his YouTube stuff. Super fun.
Is it his name? That's how I find it?
Yeah, Max Martini. I'll drop a link in the description.
Right on.
But yeah, he's also doing some analyzing stuff. He's over there in Brazil. And so what time is it over there, Max?
It's now 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's only 10.
10,
Still early.
So I have a question for you. Giuseppe, no? Is your name? You've been flying now almost 2 decades. That's crazy. First of all, and you said you did some low acro. How low was it?
What do you mean low? You hear I do some low acro?
Yeah.
At Torrey, I do some, tumbles or things, and I'm probably about 300 feet up or so, or, sometimes exiting a little lower than that. But that's when there's a lot of wind. Just like I exit and right back into the lift band and shoots me right back up over the top of the cliff. And
yeah,
I wouldn't do those things in a different situation.
That's the same altitude I have over here, and I also do tumblings and stuff. But another question for you: have you ever been criticized for doing low acro?
Oh, definitely. People have yelled at me, or I've even had people at my home site that don't fly come up to me and just like, I'm so sick of worrying about you, and be like screaming at me. I've so many times had 911 called, and it's like I travel, and either people like the way I fly and want to talk to me about it, or they hate me. And I try to be nice, but it's sometimes they're worried, I think, that something's going to happen with their flying site, and I understand that. I don't want to jeopardize anybody else's flying because I'm just visiting and they don't understand what I'm doing. But
so Max, he's got some videos where, I mean, he is kicking bushes at the beach, and he's only got a few hundred feet, and there's a lot of times where you read the comments and you follow after him, and I guarantee you it's the same thing that you're dealing with. That's why he asks, because there's this, I don't know, this there you are, Max. Are you back? I got you muted again, so you'll have to unmute each time when you want to talk. Max was actually the first guy that we had on the show back in the day. We're episode 22 already. Can you believe
Isn't
that?
that insane?
It's crazy.
Nice.
Time flies when you're having fun, man.
Yeah, man. We're all things flying realistically. So we've had Gavin McClurg came on at one point. Have you seen his stuff? He does the big cross country stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, so by the way, while we're talking about that, there is a whole slew of paramotor guys that are watching. And so what do you got for them? What are you flying?
Well, paramotoring, I'm a paraglider pilot first off, and then I started flying the motors, and it gives me an extra way to fly and to fly in places that I can't normally fly, where there's no mountains or no towing. And I have thermaled quite a bit in my motor. I've never gone faster up in the sky than coring a thermal full throttle, and that stuff's really fun. Since I've been down here, Torrey Pines has a paramotor demo team, and we open up for the Miramar Air Show. I don't know if Max mentioned this when he was on the show, but that's been really fun flying with the opening up for the Blue Angels.
What? I didn't know that.
Yeah,
with the paramotors.
Right. We start. We're like 8:30 to 9. And, you know, at first I was kind of like, oh, nobody even is going to care. But I'm like, wow, the Marine Corps is letting us fly paramotors on their base for an hour,
Yeah.
4 days in a row. Like doing like sliding on my vans down the runway, like just, and being able to do acro and smoke all the way to the deck and back up. We're doing synchro and formation flying, and you know, we've only been doing this for a few years, so we're trying to get our skills up a little bit better. I can make the show, you know, better all the time. So it's Mig, JC, Max, and me, and we're doing it again next year.
Nice. What motor do you fly? These guys are they're gonna ask me these questions. Sure.
I have the Moster Venerazi, and I've always flown a tandem, so I just love having that much power. Even when I'm not flying with somebody else, you can just climb back up 1,000 feet, and then a lot of times people say with paramotoring that it's low and slow. But I'm more like getting high and then tumbling down, or, you know, doing acro and then back up and down and up and down.
Yeah.
That's how I fly.
Those are very common motor, that's for sure. There's a lot of them around.
Is that a 185?
Yep.
Uh-huh.
That's brutal. Sweet. Yeah, you know, it's funny. I had just got into paragliding, and they saw you guys flying out there at Miramar, and somebody called me and they were like, "Hey, are you at Miramar flying right now? We saw one of those wing things." I was like, "Nah, wasn't me." Yeah, but that's pretty rad, man. I'm gonna have to try to take the kids down there this year, then go watch that.
Yeah, you just got to get up early.
Yeah. That's the hard part right there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Well, I do want to say thanks for everybody who's just logged in. We're at the half-hour mark. There's 40 people watching live. Really appreciate everybody who watches the show and checks out the show. Please go to paraglidingtalk.com to find out who's coming up next. We're going to be doing a special show with Max Martini and also with Getty G, and that's going to be on the 10th. The next show, this next Thursday, is going to be with Tony Boyer. He's been somebody that's been flying hang gliders and paragliders for the last, I think, 10 or 15 years now between the both of those, and that'll be a really good show. Do want to give a shout out to all the patrons who support the show. We're doing pretty good with the supporters of the show. We're at like $100 now. It's super cool. It's encouraging to have some, you know, it's not just talking about paragliding, but now we can do some stuff, get some gear. I'm wanting to get some products that we can maybe put out there. I got one of those, what are they called? Gaiters, the neck gaiters. And I'm wanting to make some that say paraglidingtalk.com or something like that, something fun, and maybe make some stickers. So it's pretty cool. The Patreon is a pretty cool thing. I support a couple guys on Patreon, and I was like, man, if you know, it's got to be good stuff. So I really think it's cool that people are supporting the show. And so if you've got some money and you want to throw it towards the show, go to Patreon. There'll be a link in the description for that. You can also do it on PayPal and support your local talk show, paraglidingtalk.com. So I want to talk about a little bit about your history in as far as safety goes. You've had some, I mean, you mentioned earlier that you've crashed into the trees when you first started. Have you had some close calls, and maybe share with what you've learned over the years that somebody can take from what you've done?
Well, that first experience there was me trying to do wing overs, and I did not know what I was doing. And I did not have the full understanding of the spin and parachutage, and just didn't have enough instruction. And so I would tell people that just making sure that they get the right instruction and don't stop at just your B2. Continue to mentor with other people if you got a nice group of people that you can hang out with that have good knowledge, or continue to pay for it. Only practice, over the water in the beginning if you're going to do those type of things. And then slowly, once you understand the dangers, then you could slowly practice in other places. Nothing. The SIVs, I'm going to keep talking about that because that's what really taught me how to fly these things. If you've stalled your glider a bunch of times, you kind of know that feeling of, if I pull to this point, that's as far as I can go, or it's going to do this. If that happens, I need to do this. If you don't know the right thing to do, that's where all the trouble happens. Your weather, of course, my worst, scariest near-death experiences were from, I just shouldn't have been flying. And so the weather is one of the biggest things. The proper way to throw your reserve, which a lot of times is it's down towards your butt, not out. I hit the water once in a acro training because I threw the reserve kind of out to the side, and then it took longer to go down, and it never opened. Luckily, when I had enough glider over my head and I was coming straight down, that I splashed and nothing happened. But if I wasn't training over the water, that would have been a different story.
Wow, it's been bad.
Yeah. So what was going on with that one? You just all spun up?
Just that totally. We were, I was learning to get close to. I mean, we didn't infinite, but we do a loop entry tumble, and we'd really go over the top and tumble. And then if you made a mistake and it gets all wadded up, then you can't. You can try to fix it, but sometimes you just can't. And then you have to throw. I've only thrown my reserve probably in 18 years 7 times, and that's been from practicing at SIV and just maybe getting riser twist or something I couldn't deal with and happened to throw. And so I've never had to throw my reserve any other time.
Oh my gosh, 7 times?
What? That's it? Only 7?
Oh, that's so crazy. I talked to guys that have been flying for like 15 years, and they're like, yeah, I've never had to throw. Right on, Woody. Woody, you made it. Giuseppe, Woody, this is Woody Gamertag. Woody.
What's up, Woody?
Giuseppe. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Woody is in the deep south. He's in a bunker underground somewhere there in the south.
I just landed. And then the show started. My wings all wet. It started to rain. The motor out in the field, but it's all good.
I saw you in the comments talking about that. What happened?
I turned my motor off to do a sat, and I had this idea that I would tell a story and kick it off while doing a sat, and then so I'm telling the story, and it's going okay, I thought, and then I'm like, all right, I need some more altitude, and I press the button because I have the E-start, and nothing happens, nothing at all, not even a click, not a thing. So I was like, all right, we need a plan B because it just wasn't starting again. But there's farms and stuff around here, so I just put it down. Called my wife, and while I was waiting for her, it started to rain on me and my wing. So I got it all laid out here in the background. I don't know if you can see my wing. And
no.
yeah, it'll be fine. So yeah, I don't know. It was a good flight until the end.
Have you met Giuseppe?
No, the first time.
He was at Torrey when you were there, probably.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's an instructor there.
Maybe so.
Yeah, I went to Torrey last year in the fall and did I don't know, got my P2 there and did an SIV course.
So, right on.
Good times.
Yeah, I've been working up on the mountain here quite a bit, so I could have been like off doing stuff.
Okay.
But hey, you can hit your throttle while you're doing the sat just a bit, so it won't stall the motor, and then you don't have to shut it off.
Makes me nervous. What happens if you hit the throttle while you're doing a set?
It just gives it enough throttle to keep it from, because if you've ever done this without doing that, it gives back pressure to the prop and it stalls the motor. If you just give a little bit, it's not enough to mess up your sat, but it won't stall the motor.
Huh.
That's the way I do it with a motor that I have that doesn't have a clutch. If you have a clutch, it doesn't seem to be a problem.
Yeah, no, the motor didn't stall. I killed it, so I always kill it when I do a sat because it's e-start. It fires up so easily. Typically.
Okay. Except that
not
time.
every
Sometimes.
time. Yeah, most of the time. As a paramotor guy,
you were high enough up to get somewhere, right?
Yeah, that wasn't luck though. Like I don't even do sats unless I'm way up high. I was at 3,000 feet when I started it, so it's a motor, right? So and I have wife and kids. I don't know. I do it up high.
Mm-hmm. Right on.
Altitude is free.
And where are you at? You're in
North Carolina.
Nice. Right on.
Yeah.
And you have the motor there pretty much?
No, I do. So I can launch from my yard, which is a big deal to me. So I fly a lot, but we're just getting into free flight now, like me and my group of friends, and probably 3 hours away is the nearest place to free fly. So it's not going to be all the time, but it'll be this summer.
Nice. I was just there. I didn't see any mountains, so I'm interested to see where you're going to fly.
Oh, dude, there's Eagle Rock, there's Tater Hill, and some other places. I've got my windy all set up to like send me alerts, and some places always on. You know, there's always a place with light winds in the right direction. Nice. But they're still opening. Like I know Tater Hill had snow on it 2 weeks ago, and it's not ready yet. But
this kind of ties into a question that was in the chat from Sean Netziger. What are your ideal weather conditions for acro flying, Giuseppe?
Well, at Torrey or some coastal flying site, I want to have, above 15 to 20, pretty strong to fly my 18 meter. And, flying in the mountains, to fly something that small, you need pretty strong thermals. I tend to fly maybe a bigger glider, and just not to have it be too crazy when you're thermaling. When you're doing acro and thermals, there is turbulence, but you create more speed to just cut right through that. You might, in a sat, feel yourself kind of warble as you're going through some turbulence, but you're just cutting right through that because you're going so fast. It's you kind of over your airspeed just kind of cuts right through that stuff, and it doesn't affect you as much as one would think. And
Giuseppe, what wings do you learn on, paramotor in particular, to do acro?
I've never had a paramotoring glider. I've only had just the gliders that I have and that I use. The glider that I first learned all my acro on was a Gin Bandit, and it was just a B glider, an all-around glider. Over the years, they've become more specific of having cross-country, freestyle, beginner, more safer gliders, and they kind of split off, where before we didn't need so many gliders.
So what would you put people on, though? Like hypothetically, there's this guy, does wing over sats pretty much every flight, but starry-eyed about helicos. right? And you know, some of the wings that paramotor guys fly are a little hot, maybe to learn the stolly stuff, right? They might surge too much, maybe. I don't know. And you know, do you put that guy on a rush? Do you put him on like an Octane 2, one of these you know, freestyle gliders, an E-Gravity? Like, what would be a good place to
for
start
motoring
learning stolly stuff?
You know, I have to be honest that that's just stuff that I don't really do with the motor. You know, I don't play around with all this negative stuff so much. You know, even with the helis and all that stuff. I used to do all that stuff in free flight a lot, and just over the years, you know, the heli can get away from you. And so if you're not in a really good place, if I'm going to go and practice my helis again, I'm going back to the lake and not going to take the chance of something, you know. I mean, everybody has their limitations depending on where they're flying and what's going on. But I mean, I would fly something that's not too hot for when you're first learning the heli, because the hotter wings tend to go a bit faster, and you don't really need that when you're first learning the heli. I have to say that I'm not super versed on all of the paramotoring gear as much. I tend to fly my paragliding gear and just fly it with the motor. Otherwise, I'd have 12 gliders instead of 6.
Oh my gosh. Max, you got anything for talking about the heli? He's like the master of the heli.
Yeah, maybe that's a question he could answer better than I could.
Oh, dang.
Max, you're muted right now.
No, he's unmuted, but he's got some issues with sound. Dang it. You might have to switch back to the other microphone. Yeah.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Got it.
So first of all, if you don't have the hand of the heli, if you don't understand the heli on your free flight glider, don't ever try it on your motor glider. Don't ever try it with a motor on your back, because the weight distribution is very different, and it can get twisty pretty quickly. Do you understand what I mean?
I do, but I prefer not to hear it.
Yeah, please hear my advice. Don't try it yet. Try it on the free flight glider, preferably on a ENA, ENB wing, like a Rush, or maybe, I don't know. I tried the Mescal 5 from Skywalk. Awesome glider to do your first tries on the heli. You saw Alan. I did the video for Alan. He did try on a Mojo 5, I think. Nice wing to try it. It will give you confidence because it's slow, and it gives you time to react, and it's very docile on the pitch. So try it on those easier gliders first.
So Max, you told a story in a video where you used an acro glider and it didn't go well. It dented your confidence and you switched back. What specifically went wrong with the acro glider?
Oh, I muted you again, Max. There you go.
The acro glider is has more leverage, I would say, because of the high suspension, and it shoots pretty aggressively. And I was practicing like backfly or something like that, and it shooted like in a SAT configuration, and it locked in a spiral, and I didn't have the knowledge, and I wasn't able to get out of it, and almost crashed into the mountain. And that's where I decided, well, I should go a step back and try it on an ENA wing.
Good advice.
All right.
That's wild. How is your
Is Max playing the stream through his speakers?
No, I'm not sure. I think it's internal. Because when he plugged his headphones in, he was should be going through the mic, but he must not have set it up. We'll get him worked out before the next show because he's coming on with Getty G in 2 weeks.
I like his videos too.
They're incredible, huh?
Yeah, both them guys are awesome.
Yeah,
outstanding.
Giuseppe, you'll get a kick out of his videos, man. He's got some really good stuff, and he's really humble to point out where he messes up. And when you watch, he's I want to say he's inventing tricks. Would you guys agree?
Yeah.
I mean,
who is this?
That's Max, who we're trying to work out.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got a trick that he's been doing. I don't know what it's called. he names it in the video, but he's facing backwards. He does like the twist where he's facing backwards, and then he just freaking yanks on one side and basically does this crazy.
It sounds like a McTwist, but it twisted, and so it gives it an extra 180 and makes it look even more rad. The McTwist already looks radical, but you do a 180 in extra, and it's even more gnarly looking. Looks sick.
It's not a McTwist.
No, it's not a twisted twist.
Twisty flip.
Yeah, it's a twisted misty. McTwist is way too aggressive for me.
So explain it then. You're twisted up. Where'd he go?
Yeah, I twist, I do a 180, and then I pull a misty flip.
Okay.
I would pull it up, but my videos can't handle it. My computer can't handle it when I'm showing a video. And by the way,
no, it's what I think. What I think I already was saying, except I said Mac Twist instead of Misty. So
is it the same?
Well, a Mac Twist is more aggressive of the same trick.
It looks so rad. I can't wait to see it from a different perspective. And I know Mac's been working on that, trying to getting somebody on the ground with a camera because he's doing some pretty incredible stuff.
And this is with the motor?
No motor, just.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, those are sick. You know what? I kind of have started to, and I could change my mind, but I don't do any of the twisted up stuff. I'm like, okay, that's beyond. Like, I don't know if I ever want to do that stuff. But I said the same thing about going infinite and rhythmic, and then, I got back at working at that. But that's some next level stuff.
Bro, you're next level. Oh my gosh. Bro, I was watching him do these hand drags. In person, it's so intense. If you watch it on YouTube, whatever. But when you're there and he's hand dragging the whole launch at Tori, I'm like, dude, that is so rad. And there's so much flow to it. It's not like he's fighting it. He's just floating in the air. And it's so epic. Heck yeah.
Tori allows for a lot of flying that you can't do other places, like pretending to kite surf. I did some kite surfing lessons, and then after that, I'm like dragging myself across the grass. And just not everywhere you have the winds coming in like that, where you can play back and forth like that and shoot yourself back right off the cliff and everything. The cliff at Tori is like a 350-foot quarter pipe. And yeah. I surf, and why I was able to learn acro paragliding so quickly is because I came from skateboarding ramps and bowls.
What?
And so that whole like dropping in and carving,
yes.
and doing a trick and having to connect the trick to trick, that stuff. Enlo made a movie called Aerobatics. Visual guide to terminology way back in the day on VHS tape. And so all it was music and some graphics telling people, and we did tricks, and then I gave people a big example of this is a sat, this is a slow entry sat, this is an asymmetric entry sat, this is a loop entry sat. And that movie and making that footage really progressed my flying, because at the end of the day, you watch your footage, and like football teams do, they critique their footage. And if we were flying too flat and did too much space between tricks, we would start to heckle each other. And so then the next day, we came up with a 3-second rule back then, and it really changed our flying. The joke was, there's only 2 strings. If it's gone 3 seconds and you haven't pulled one of them, you get a penalty. And so we started like realizing, oh, I'm flying flat, yank, and we just go right into another trick and trying to flow. Because in the beginning of acro, it was do a trick, stop, do another trick, stop, do another trick. And so I feel like part of my part of acro flying was help to connect the tricks together, which now it's so amazing to watch how it just keeps going, and you think everybody, oh, there's nothing else to do, and then people come up with more and more things.
That's Max. he
I'm gonna have to check it out.
There's no gap. When he runs out of time, it's because he's too low.
Hey, Giuseppe, so you're a big Waga enthusiast, aren't you? So you like to play low.
Yep. I don't want to speed fly, but I like to play with the cliff and play with the ground a lot.
That's awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
I've been able to get way better by flying at Torrey. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like it's the best for doing that. This nice big grassy area.
I've been trying to get all these guys to come. I'm trying to get Woody to come back again. I told him he could stay at the house. Max, he's got the invite. I got the extra room. I've invited Kyle, Neil. I mean, it's on.
That'd be cool, man.
They haven't come yet, so
right on.
Blame Mark Honeycutt, man. I want to go. I'm like, let's do it. Let's head up. And
Mark just keeps on bailing out.
He's lame.
What about the sea fly-in for all the motor enthusiasts that get out for that thing? That's a pretty fun party.
Which one?
Which fly-in?
Salton Sea.
Oh yeah,
I missed that. Shane Denherter is a friend of mine, and he was telling me to go. And I had like just been to Wings Over Winter in Florida. It seemed like 2 weeks earlier, and I didn't, ask the wife for yet another trip, but I should have.
Yeah, Salton Sea is like right after that, ain't it?
It seemed like they were back to back, but I wish I had gone.
Pretty close. Yeah. I got to go to California.
I would have met Super Del for crying out loud.
He's here.
He hasn't showed up for those for a few years, I don't think.
No, he was there last year.
He was there last time.
Really?
Somebody died, and he made a video with like the corpse in it. He's like,
my
get another dead guy, buy a flat top.
I'm glad I missed that one.
He's in the chat. He's watching right now.
I think that's
I'm dead serious.
The other Dell. No, it's got to be the other Dell, man.
Is he too nice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So we've got a fake Dell in the chat right now, and I want to say that it was one of Woody's followers that created a fake Dell.
Fake Dell's cool.
Dude, fake Dell's so nice. And real Dell was super pissed that I have this show, and he wants me to turn it off because he's telling me that I don't know what I'm talking about. And he's right. That's why I'm having this show, so I can learn.
I just keep asking him if he'll ever be as fast as Mark Honeycutt. That's the thing. I think you're like, Dell, I saw you practicing your high wind launches. Someday you'll catch Mark Honeycutt. Just keep putting it out there.
Gosh darn it, Dell. I didn't want him to make it into the show, but he somehow did.
Dude, he's like a virus, man. He just permeates through everything. You try so hard not to acknowledge his existence, and you cannot help it, man. I tried so hard.
Well, hey, I got to chime in. I got my first paramotor back in 2003 from Dell.
Nice.
When he was selling Walker jets. Back then, everybody had a Walker jet. And,
nice.
That's as far as I'm going to go with my Dell stories.
There you go.
Oh man,
we've got one sale. so far, Dell. We've been. He was wanting to come on the show, but he wanted to fight me and I think it was me and Tony.
Wait, he legitimately wanted to fight you?
Yeah, he said, well, boxing. He said two versus one. I'm not sure if he meant that he was going to be fighting with a friend or not, but that he said he would come on the show if we fought him.
I'm really curious. Since we're talking about Dell, he's fascinating to me. Like I am just, I can't get enough Dell talk. The guy, every time he uploads a video, I'm like, what? 304 reasons that the flat top is the best? What is this psycho going to say? And then he'll just he'll go on for 11 minutes about the Fresh Breeze throttle and why he doesn't like it or something outrageous. And half of it's true and half of it's not, which makes the untrue parts more effective, right? By slipping in some actual truth. And his whole scene, I want him to do the Icarus. Because I think he'd lose, right? He would lose. There's just too many good pilots out there. He's not actually the very best on the planet. And how would that reality sync up with his imagination, right? And how would he justify not winning? Is it the equipment or the pilot? You let me know. What's going to happen?
You'll have to do a whole show on him.
Dell is in the chat. He is now. He officially just showed up in the chat.
That's him. Dell.
That's fake Dell, man. There's no way.
I'm rolling with real Dell.
You're going real Dell?
All right. So I guess this whole imaginary reality is not unique to Dell. We just choose our own.
That's how infamous this guy is. You don't even know if it's the real one or not.
Anyway, I want to meet him. Every time he leaves a hate comment on one of my videos, I pin it to the top. Like, I'm so proud. Everyone needs to see this. Achievement unlocked.
I literally sent out an email to all you guys. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah, I started to write a reply. Dude, you started calling him a communist.
Yeah, because he was.
You went crazy first.
He was trying to censor me. That's communistic.
Wait, no. Fake Dell wrote something. You called him a commie, and then he comes in with fake accounts and liars lie and whatever. Dude, you took the bait is what happened.
Yeah, he sucked me right in.
Yeah. No, next time just be like, hey, glad to see you working on those high-speed launches. Someday you'll catch Mark Honeycutt. I know. Just tell him you have faith in him and that you love him and that you know he can do it. Just go that way, man. None of this communist talk or accusing one another of voting for Hillary. That's silliness. That's not the way you want to go on this.
He wanted to fight me.
Tell him the same thing. Tell him yes. That's what Mark Honeycutt did. He told Mark Honeycutt he would fight him for 10,000 or something like that. Mark said, let's make it 50. It's all bullshit. It doesn't matter. Just say things.
Oh, there's $10.
Welcome to the internet.
That's thank you. You just pledged $10 to the Patreon.
Oh, I did not. I'm not doing
you did.
No, it's not fair. Now, look, here's what happened on that.
We sucked you right in.
You guys changed it. So
we made you so comfortable that you felt like you could cuss.
And then, so I guess I dropped 4. I don't even know where 4 came from because I remember 1 or 2, but okay, we'll go there. And then you wanted $4 in the swear jar. And I was like, oh, cool. And then you say, no. It's not a swear jar anymore. It's a monthly reoccurring swear jar. And I'm like, what the heck is that? That seems a little outrageous. I've never heard of a reoccurring monthly swear jar. And then the next episode, when I'm not around, you multiplied the cost by 10. And now it's $40 a month reoccurring.
Hey, I'm not the one that cussed.
Fuck that.
You are doomed. That's it. I'm muting him. Here we go.
I think etiquette's been broken.
Yeah, he broke it. Okay, there we go. I muted him.
We've been sliding downhill. The second half.
It's not much of a
second half has gone into the gutter.
It has gone into the gutter. While we mention that, by the way, Giuseppe's in trouble right now because he's supposed to be working, and Robin's up there probably looking across the hill. Is he yelling at you, Giuseppe?
No, I think that they finished without me, so we're all good.
Okay. All right. I don't want to get you in trouble because I know it's 7:00.
Is it?
Yeah.
All right.
And what happens is
I'm done.
yeah. Okay.
I'll just listen to you guys bash Dell for another half hour.
I guess I did bash him a little. All right, I'm guilty.
He'll watch
Guilty
it.
as charged.
I want to hear more about Max's crazy adventures in flipping with a prop on his back and stuff like that.
And low acro.
Wagga wagga.
Well, I never did paramoto acro, but I have some connections. I have some friends who do, like Javier Malagita, the Malagita brothers, and they all say never do acro with a paramotor unless you're very good on your free flight equipment. Um, well, that's
Right.
all I
The
have.
only stuff I only do mostly positive things. You know, it's like really
Yeah,
fun to
yeah.
do full throttle loops and things like that, and you know, some maybe combinations of sat to loop stuff, but nothing like, you know, I don't do any misties or stuff where you could get all, you know, just the thought of slacking lines when you have the prop going is not a good thing.
Oh
You do
yeah.
rhythmic sats on a paramotor?
I have, and I've had to do some modifications to my motors because the flat top just wasn't really working with the exhaust mounts. So I snapped the exhaust mounts, and the exhaust went into my prop, and I lost my prop in the middle of my doing rhythmic. And so, you know, these motors, just like the gliders, you need to find, okay, what are the guys that are really doing the gnarly acro? What are they flying? What have they done to modify their equipment because they've already broken shit or like crushed cages or, you know, like I did, losing the motor, the mounts on the exhaust. So the exhaust goes flying into your prop. The G forces and the energies that get put on the motors, they're not really necessarily built for that. So I have a Kangook I got from JC, and it's the same motor that Horatio's been flying, and they've beefed up some of the, and also has more lower attachment points than the normal paramotors, so you can get better weight shift out of it. And then it's maybe a few more welds in certain places, so the frame is stronger. I've seen where people have like crushed their whole motor doing some tumbly stuff.
In the air or bad landings?
Yep. No, just like you're tumbling, there's a lot of energies going on these frames that are really made to be light so you can carry them. They're not necessarily made to be super strong to be taking this the forces that we're putting on them. Just like the gliders back in the day, people blew up a glider because it wasn't made to be as, you know, now acro gliders are made with reinforcements through the glider, extra stitching, and they're made tough to deal with the G's and the things we're putting them through. So same thing with the motors. You can't just take any, you know, if you take a really lightweight, flimsy motor and try to go rhythmic or do some tumbling in it, it's going to maybe torque some things. You're going to end up bending something, or, you know.
This kind of ties into
right...
Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. No,
okay. One of the guys in the chat, Yankee and SC1, this kind of ties into his question. What are some of the breakthroughs that you had when learning energy management?
Well, just being able to stable spiral and to be able to come out of that is very important in flying, because even if you're just a free flight pilot that gets a cravat or you're somebody that's playing with wingovers and you get a collapse and it starts throwing you into a spiral, all of a sudden you're doing that whether you want to or not. So learning how to really wind it up and being able to slow it down, that's a big deal. we're the things that we're playing with in all these sports that are the why we do this stuff is, G forces and centrifugal force. We're getting negative G's and positive G's, and being able to build that stuff up, you have to bleed it off, or that energy is going to go somewhere. It's either going to go shoot up into a huge surge, or you're going to slow it down till gravity takes over centrifugal and you're going to come back under the glider. So those things are really important to learn for any pilot that's going to fly a paramotor or a paraglider, not even an acro pilot, just somebody that's going to fly these things. They need to know how to slow down a spiral safely, right?
Right on.
Sean just asked about the Gin Bandit. He said, what are your thoughts and feelings on that?
Oh, that was I learned everything on that glider. I still have it.
Nice.
It's what we started to get better of going to trick was that we needed to get smaller gliders, but the Bandit was really cool. It could do all this stuff. I would be nice to have one that wasn't so old that I feel safe to play with again. It was a B. It wasn't anything that crazy.
Is that the one that you landed at the beach and put it down, and there was like some hot coals and it like burned some holes in it?
That was the Gin Zoom.
Gin Zoom.
I had the Zoom.
So
yeah.
he lands at the beach. Somebody had a fire down there at the beach. He put rosettes the wing and puts it down in the sand, but he doesn't realize that he put it over a fire pit, and it burned a bunch of these holes.
They had covered this fire up, like, okay, we're done, and we're gonna cover it up so it's out, and they covered it up with rocks.
Jesus.
And it looked like awful. The rest of the beach. And I didn't even notice. I flew twice, and then somebody's like, "Hey, you got some holes in your glider?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And there was like 100 holes in my glider. There, I could put my fist through one of them. I was like, "What the hell?"
No, I saw this wing, and I'm like, "Dude, why do you have all those patches on that?" It looks so ratty, and he's hucking these big old spirals and nasty sats right next to the edge with that wing.
It's terrible.
It's so rad. I love it.
I was checking its porosity.
Yeah.
That's my I invented a new sport called flurfing, and that's my flurf glider.
Flurfing.
How does one flurf?
Flurf. So I strap the surfboard to my harness on the back, and then I launch a Tory down to Black's Beach, and then I surf. So it's your flurf.
Nice.
So you don't have to hike down there. You fly down, and then you hike back up.
Dude, that's rad. I don't think anybody's done that.
Max and I are the only two so far.
Yeah.
We're going to start the World Championships of Flurfing.
Guaranteed gold or silver.
It's going to be a triathlon. You fly off, you fly down, you surf 3 waves, get judged on that, and then you have to run back up past all the crazy stuff that you might see at Black's Beach, and like back up the stairs, and then you have to hit a buzzer or something, and Torrey Pines triathlon.
Then you got to take a tandem. Once you get back up to the top, you got to take a tandem because Robin
too.
Yeah, because Robin's gonna be there.
Oh, then you got to be like, get back to work.
Yeah. That's so rad.
Have you guys ever been down to Costa Rica?
Not yet. My friend just got back from it.
Flying or?
Yeah,
or
he was with
checking it out?
Gigi. You know Gigi at all?
I don't think so.
Oh, he's an instructor and owns a paramotor school in Costa Rica.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a good pilot.
Years ago, I ran a bed and breakfast down there for paragliding, Grandpa Ninjas, and took people on vacation to be able to surf and fly, and Jean-Claude has a similar spot to Torrey Pines there in Caldera. Really good coastal soaring site also.
Nice. I didn't know that. That's
it's
a fellow
a
Belgian.
Good spot for getting away in the winter.
Does Jean-Claude fly?
He learned from Jeff Goldblum in
The
in,
actor?
No, Jeff. Greenbaum. Close. He's close. The guy from Police Academy. That's who he started his own paramotoring school.
Those Jurassic Park.
Yeah, thanks.
Anyway, so yeah, he learned up there, and then he ended up moving to Costa Rica and starting a soaring site down there on the Pacific Coast. And really good place for people to go down and have a chill vacation down there.
Dude, I want to go down there. That's rad.
Yeah. Giuseppe, what do you do on a paramotor? So if you don't do the negative stuff, you don't do any Misty, you don't do any helico, you do, I guess, wing overs, asymmetric spirals, sets,
rhythmic sats, a little bit of tumbles, and more like combinations of sat loop sats. I just haven't been doing the helico stuff, and to where I'm just out of practice with that stuff. Not doing.
Trying
to
get a vibe
anymore.
for what the limit should be. Where a good place to stop is on the progression.
I know people do that stuff, but I would go along with Max's advice that if I haven't done helicos a lot recently, free flight, so I'm certainly not going to do them with a motor. And once you can do them all the time very proficiently without the motor, then I would try them with the motor.
Dynamic stalls look like a good time. Might have lost him.
If you get up there and you turn that thing off, then then they are fun. Those are super fun. You just gotta, are you willing to throw your reserve and come down under that? And then if you are, then I guess that's if you're willing to throw that up high and be willing to drift wherever that's going to take you, that's why we always go to the lake and practice there. And then you have people looking out for you. If something happens, they're on you with the boat, and you're not on a cliff, you're not in power lines, and it's just a little safer.
Yeah, I need to get back over a little.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to do all that stuff, just get really. I mean, if you don't free flight, then I guess you got to do what you got to do.
You broke up there. You said you got to get really, really high.
Well, if you don't free flight and you're just a motor pilot, I guess you just got to get up there and get high enough and in a place where if you had to throw your reserve, that you're not going to end up in some place terrible. That's what I'd say. Think if you screw up.
You're starting to break up, Giuseppe.
Yeah, did you walk away from the Wi-Fi? Maybe. I hope.
No, I'm right here.
Okay.
Is that better? Is that better?
A little better for now.
Yeah, we can hear you.
I would say just keep yourself in a good, safe zone where if you throw your reserve, you're going to end up somewhere safe.
All right, here's a good lead into that. And I've asked a couple people this. I get different answers. You're going to throw your reserve. You're all alone. Would you rather land in trees, in a field, or in the water?
Are we talking with them?
Yeah, with a motor.
Well, my first instinct would be to go for the crumple zone.
Well played.
Yeah, I've gotten to the
I
point
mean-
where over trees, I'm like, all right, equipment damage, but people don't tend to be badly hurt when they land in a forest. And you have to know North Carolina forests; they're pretty dense. Like I went
Yeah,
out
I mean-
west. Sometimes your trees are spread apart and they're mile high. It's not like that here. They're 150 feet high and they're packed to a solid canopy. And I'm like, man, I
Trying to
bet
say,
trees would wreck your wing, but fuck, wings are cheap. Ankles are expensive.
Right, you know, like especially if you have your reserve
I mean,
out.
darn,
and-
wings are cheap.
I heard that.
You're racking them up tonight.
I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, I got a tab going.
Good. I know Carl's watching too. He's writing them all down.
It's gonna get me one of these times.
That was a nervous laugh from Woody. Yeah,
I try to respect the show.
you try. Jeez.
Trees aren't bad if that's your option. All your stuff will snag in that stuff.
Dude, that is I have a roll. This is funny, but I have a roll of dental floss in my pack.
That's the old school method to get yourself out of there, right?
What do you use for weight?
Just break a little tree branch off.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Then you can just pull up. Because I guess you're hoping somebody's going to be there. You can pull a rope up, huh?
Yep. I learned that from one of the old school guys because they were convinced I was going to be in a tree.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you haven't, you're not trying hard enough.
Yeah. I almost did at Palomar.
Or you fly in Southern California.
Dude, I'm telling you, Palomar almost got me one day. I hit that wind shear and went into a face down spiral. It was gnarly. Scared the crap out of me. I still hate Palomar right now.
So why are you in a face down spiral?
He's standing on Palomar right now. They're making, before you came on the show, did you hear what he was talking about? What he's doing up there?
Are you talking
Woody?
to me?
Yeah.
I heard that he was good with the backhoe.
Yeah, so he's creating a site where we can go up there and camp, hang out. There's going to be a little lake, and we can launch right from where they're at.
That's nice, especially the water source. That
Heck
adds a
yeah,
lot.
man. It's rad.
That's gonna be cool. Jealous.
I am. Yeah. Look at that. Look at that view. Does it come up on your screen when I click like this?
Do I have to talk and then it comes up?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
There we go. Because, you can see all the way to downtown San Diego and into Mexico, and from here. And
Cool.
yeah, we'd love for people to come out and check it out. And we want to create more of a European or South American style flying site here, where there's some food and camping, camaraderie.
What are you guys going to do about the grass? You going to do turf?
Well, we ordered thousands of dollars worth of grass seed and wildflowers, and some, he wants to have some animals and things. But if you can see right here, the grass
Wait.
is starting to just come back on its own.
Wait, hold on a second. Did you say animals? I heard you slip that in. What kind of animals are we talking about?
Take
Miniature
requests.
donkeys, miniature Brahma bulls.
What the
Tigers.
heck? Are you serious?
I want parrots and sloths.
There's going to be ducks and by the ponds, and
Oh, that's easy. We'll just catch some ducks. That's cool.
yeah, first you get the place groomed, then you get the grass, then the deer start coming, back the coyotes and mountain lions and birds, and then you got a party. So
That's pretty rad. So, have you guys talked about what it's going to cost to camp up there? You guys setting all that up?
no,
Right now, you're
There's
squatting.
there's no prices talked about yet or anything like that. But as it is, anybody that is a San Diego Hang Gliding Paragliding Association and that asks us and has the proper USHPA stuff, we're letting just about anybody just come up here and fly. skilled pilot and all that.
What rating do you need?
It's certain times of the year when it's fall through winter through spring and it's mild conditions. A P2 is enough.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be more advanced P2, but then we pretty much want P3, P4 when it gets into the summer and things get a little bit more rowdy.
All right.
I've flown motors from here a handful of times, but it's not necessarily a motoring site.
But you're okay with the motors?
Well, we don't want to upset our neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
So we can fly motors here, but we got to do it more discreetly, like fire them up, launch off, glide away,
and disappear,
and do some things without just being courteous to the neighbors and stuff like that. But
Woody's not gonna bring the motor. He's fine. He's just gonna come with his free flight wing.
I'm not flying all the way out to a mountain to fly a motor. I can do that in my front yard.
That's right. And plus, you can't bring the motor on the plane, right?
People do that.
It's a bad idea.
I haven't yet.
I haven't yet either.
Sure, the gas, everything.
Oh yeah.
And
he broke up for me. What did he say?
Yeah, you can't bring any gas.
Right. Yeah, people buy a new fuel tank for the trip. They clean everything out the best they can, and they buy a fuel tank at the destination or ship a new one there. That's the way to go.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
I
have not done that one.
Are you coming down here, Woody? What's the plan?
Yeah, I need to get down there. I don't know when. I'm doing there's a fly-in in Georgia in early May that I might go to. There's the Endless Foot Drag, which is going to have some free flight involved and an SIV course in the middle or late May that I really want to go to. And then figure out what's next. Maybe Torrey Pines and Gin Blossom and that stuff.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the Blossom shirt that I got?
No, show me.
I don't know where it's at.
I'm done. I'm out of here. I think I made a mess with the concrete.
That's Robin. I can tell his voice.
Guys, I'm signing off.
All right.
Palomar.
Giuseppe, thanks, man.
To you guys.
Yeah, really appreciate you, bro. I will see you soon at Torrey.
All right.
Yeah.
Laters, brother.
Thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate you.
Peace out.
So rad.
Yeah, man.
Dude. Giuseppe's rad. What a cool dude. Woody, why aren't you working?
You what now?
You're supposed to be working.
I've got better things to do with my time than work, Robert.
No, I'm talking about your other show. Whenever I see you show up in the chat,
I showed up one time during the drinking episode. Come on.
No. Tell them the truth. You've been on almost every show at some point where you pop in the chat for just a second and you're like,
true? That might be true. I get curious because it pops up in my, I get notified that you go live and sometimes I can't resist. But our guest last night, we had a bigger than normal guest. Do you know who Titus is? Christopher Titus. He used to have a sitcom.
Yep.
Yeah, he couldn't make it on Thursday, so we moved the show to Wednesday for him.
He must be special.
He was pretty good. Yeah. Oh my God, his life is awful. His mom's a murderer, murdered her husband. His father was an abusive alcoholic. And he just sort of told all the stories of his crazy childhood. And it was pretty good. I liked it.
Yeah, he had a TV show on Fox for a little while, didn't he?
Yes. And then he told off the executive and lost his show. His ratings were good. And he's like, what's she going to do? Cancel the show? Turns out.
They will.
Called the bluff.
Yeah.
Man.
Well, it was she had an idea that he was supposed to cheat on his wife in the show, the character. And he's like, do you even watch the show? And he lays out why that won't work and talks to her like she's 3 years old. Instantly promotion stop. Then they start changing the night of his show. And then
dang.
Yeah, and then the show was canceled. I don't know. It's a super interesting life, but he made a $30 million mistake, I guess.
Ooh. I seen him on was it Louder with Crowder?
Okay.
That was an interesting interaction.
Yeah.
It was just got into a gun control debate, and he was pretty amped up about it.
He's we didn't talk about guns, but I know that he's very anti-gun.
Yeah,
that's his position. But I mostly was super curious about his background and his childhood, and it fuels a lot of his comedy. And he's all the worst things have happened to him, so I thought it was interesting.
They say that about comedians. That's where a lot of that comedy comes from, is a pretty rough background. Growing up and everything, they develop that skill. Like Robin Williams, he came from like a rich family and all that, and was kind of starved for attention. So he developed this like personality or whatever, so he could get the attention. That's
At one point, we seemed to hurt Titus's feelings. Like he would just talk about how everyone in his life is so crazy. His crazy ex-wife, his crazy mom, his crazy dad, his crazy sister, his crazy this, his crazy that, and we're like, ever think it's you? Like, are you not like a crazy magnet that just brings all this to you? And he's like the idea
didn't want to hear that, huh?
Yeah, he was like, what? How could you?
Dude, that's awesome.
You guys are brutal.
Yeah, we are. We're absolutely terrible.
You guys are brutal.
You know what? Though, people need to hear that sometimes. Maybe it isn't everybody around you. Maybe it's just you.
I was curious. I will admit some of these people are crazier than you can make them, right? I mean, I don't know.
I wouldn't doubt it, of course.
When he heard that his mom killed her new husband, they were like, yeah, I can see that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, that was our guest. I thought it was pretty good.
Did you let that? Is that on?
It comes out on Saturday. Yeah, we have a Patreon, and the benefit is they get to see it early, but it goes on Saturday.
That's a good idea. And then you can edit out the cuss words.
There'd be no show left. Robert, you won't like my show.
I haven't watched it because I already know.
Oh, I don't think you do,
bro. I still get Rape Squad killer comments.
Yeah.
There was some earlier in the chat.
Yes.
If they're bugging you, you're adorable.
See, look, RSK. There it is. They're lurking, bro. I got a bunch of subscribers from that, and they they don't even care about paragliding. They just come in, and they'll drop RSK, or they'll just But I do love them. No hate here.
Right.
I'm one of the crazies too. I'm just.
You're an ex-crazy though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've retired the crazy throne.
No, I used up all my craziness.
Okay.
Everybody has, we talk about moderation. No one explained that to me in the beginning. You know what I mean? It was like, if there's drugs, you just need to do them until they're gone.
That's how you know
you'll be all right.
Moderation.
You'll tell yourself that all the time.
What did you say?
Quit next week.
Was
it
alcohol?
No, no, it's cocaine.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
a classy drug.
Yeah, no, it's a good.
Tip my hat to you.
Don't try this at home, kids.
Yeah, drugs really suck.
Yeah, I mean, unless you like jail.
I never got into drugs
or being broke.
Yeah, being broke.
Or constantly anxious and
so let me ask you
paranoid.
This, Robert. Your perspective will be interesting. I was on a show recently and they asked, like, in what context is it okay to smoke pot? That's what they were at. As a non-pot guy, if I hear a guy smokes pot, do I look down on him? Do I like where am I on that? And I thought it through, and I was like, it's fine provided that he have all the other aspects of his life in order, right? If he has a good job, if he has health insurance, if he has, if he's not deep in debt, he needs to have his family, fitness, and finance all sorted out. And if he has that, then I'll allow the pot smoking. But if I hear this guy is like upside down on his car payment, I'm like, it's the pot, bitch. That's where your money's going.
Look,
So where are you on that? If when you hear a guy smokes pot, are you like, it's a lightweight drug, or are you like, no?
Okay, so obviously the whole gateway thing, that's going to be my first instinct. It's like, dude, you're open yourself up to stuff. Real talk. If you're smoking weed, it's because deep down inside you have rebellion. You're a rebel. And so you're doing it because it's rebellious and it's satisfying your rebellious nature, right? Now, when like the way I look at it, I'm the father. You know, I've got 5 kids. I pastor the church. I've got people that come to the church. I'm preaching, and I'm trying to encourage these guys to come off the street, you know, coming off of heroin. They're, you know, and they want another vice to hold on to. For what? When I got saved, I was smoking cigarettes like a chimney. And there was just one day I felt bad about it. We were sitting on the back porch. Me and my wife were both smoking a cigarette. And I go, I feel bad about this. Like, I don't feel like we should be smoking on Sundays when we go to church. So let's not smoke on Sundays. And then I was just like, that's ridiculous. Why am I even doing this? And we literally just said a prayer and that was it. End of smoking and totally set free. But if you want to take it down that road, the clean life is the life to live. Like, you're living to the maximum of your life. Why would you want to handicap your brain? I tell people all the time, why you're going to smoke weed. I smoked weed for 10 years. I started smoking weed when I was 12. I mean, I've heard people, oh, I was 9 years old. I'm like, okay, I get it. 12 years old is still way too young. Okay. And it jacked me up. You've never smoked pot, Woody?
One time on vacation in the Dominican Republic.
I thought you were going to say one time they made me on the show.
No, I wouldn't. And I didn't like it. I felt kind of nauseous. It was not a pleasurable experience for me in the slightest. I might have done too much. I don't know. Because I don't know. I'd seen them do it on that 70s show, and they took me super deep inhales. Yeah. So
you're gonna blame it on them?
I'm blaming my technique on them. Yeah. and I don't know. I was coughing a lot. I felt nauseous, and I wanted it to end and stop being impacting.
I gotta say, it's different for a lot of different people. No two people are gonna have the exact same sort of experience with it. A lot of people can smoke here and there, and they're fine. It helps them. Especially with anxiety and things like that. For a lot of veterans in that, it helps with, you know, the effects of PTSD and things. That's pretty well proven. But yeah, there's some people that'll smoke and they have anxiety and they're paranoid, this, that, and the other. And then other people smoke, like myself. I've smoked for 16 years. I occasionally sometimes smoke, but not very often anymore. And you know, it's totally different. For some people will work 70, 80 hours a week and smoke pot all day, every day. And then there's other people that sit on the couch and collect a check and spend that check on weed. It's like anything, man. It's just going to be different for different people.
I mean, for me, it was like, I couldn't live right if I wasn't high. I woke up and got high. My days, I mean, and it was all secretive because I was still living at home.
Right. Well, there's people that have addicted personality where if they're not doing pot, they're doing something else. You know, you could be addicted to porn, you could be addicted to exercise, you could be addicted to so many different things.
Paragliding,
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, faith. I mean, are these not things that you got into at a pretty hardcore level, right?
Everything, 100% a no. That's what it is, buddy. Woody has an addictive personality. You love paramotoring, right?
I think that's true. Yeah, and it's not just paramotoring. Like if you go through my history, like I got into video games at a level that was outrageous. I got into computers at a level that most people don't. You know, like I'd wake up in the morning and watch like videos and find instructional material on how to be a better programmer. Then I'd code all day, come home at night, and just consume more, you know, work on either pet projects or find like instructional things I can learn, new technologies. And I did that for decades. And I was just into it like all the way. And it's always how I've been wired.
I bet you a lot of paragliders, paramotors do have addictive personalities in some way, shape, or form. It's hard not to be.
Right?
Except this is just like kind of socially acceptable, so it's all good.
That's about right. Kind of socially acceptable. Nails
Kind
it. I wish it looked less dorky. I don't know. Like
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
I'm glad I'm not alone. Something like I have a picture of one of my instructors wearing a I think it's a kiting harness, and like the guy is badass. He's an ex-Marine. He's strong. He's got one of these like special forces beards thing, you know, like the big bushy. I don't know, Saint Nick type shit, and it's red. And he's wearing a kiting harness, and he still looks nerdy. And it's just like, oh my god, no one's immune.
It's kind of like power. It's kind of like metal, you know. Metal is there's an element that's, you know, hardcore of it, and then there's another element where it's just kind of dorky.
I see that. Yeah, I just I don't know. If we could somehow get the right helmet, I take a selfie wearing a helmet, and I wear like ski goggles because I find them more comfortable than sunglasses, and they don't break the seal, and your hearing protection.
Oh yeah.
And
I've been thinking about doing that.
I see my own selfies, and it's not a good look. There's nothing. It's not good.
If the motocross helmet didn't limit visibility so much, I think that would be a step up. That might cut into that dorkiness a little bit.
Badass on the motocross helmet.
Yeah,
I like
absolutely.
But yeah, it wouldn't be a good fit.
No, yeah, you can't see what's going on, really.
Yeah, see, Robert's demonstrating how dorky it is.
This is how I feel when I'm kiting every time. These are actually kind of cool, though. These are
cool, you think?
These are hipster.
They're really cool. They're really cool.
They're wearing these at these came from Burning Man.
Yeah, the tough part about those.
You ever been to that, Robert?
No.
Is beating off all the girls. That's the challenge. Yeah.
That's the main thing. I can't wear them.
No,
I just
they
can't.
fly paramotors at Burning Man, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
I've seen videos.
I'm going in 2019, so
you should do some toes out there.
Desert. I'm guessing it's like aggressive air, right? Trashy, windy.
Oh yeah, I
you think so? Yeah.
Yeah. That low
moisture. It'd be bananas.
Yes, but that last Salton Sea flying was pretty crazy from what I heard, and I don't know how I feel about that.
Are you talking about the death?
Yeah.
Yeah, from what I heard, the way it went down is a guy saw people flying. He was absolutely instantly inspired and had to do it. And he bought a used rig, like right out of the gate, without any training. Managed to forward launch and didn't know about the dangers of the stall. And that's how he stalled it and died.
You know, you put out all the information and regulation that your heart desires, but it's always gonna be that one guy that's still gonna do what he's gonna do.
Yeah, I don't relate to that. You know, like I was information gathering for a long time.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like this sounds like a big deal. It's not. I was the star of ground school because I had read the Paramotor Bible before I entered the school, knew the whole thing. And it wasn't that I wasn't learning more, I was, but that's just the way I was. I was just, every piece of information I could find about paramotoring, I was sucking in during my learning process. Well, I'm still learning, but pre-flight. So, and this guy was the total opposite. He just literally never had a lesson, launches it.
Now, we can't put our own experiences in everybody's shoes, you know. Some people are just, they're going to do what they're going to do, man.
Dude, I can't get over the fact that there's a fake Dell in the freaking
Dude, that's awesome. Dude, that's a great troll.
I love it, man.
I like how he's nice. That's
nice.
That's perfect.
Dell.
That's the perfect.
Did you see what he commented on your post, Woody?
No,
he was like, Woody is such a good teacher. If he was an instructor, I would totally go to him.
That's great.
And then he linked a part in that 4-hour video at like, I don't know what mark, and you were like talking about how the wing shoots out in front and stuff like that.
Oh, that's funny.
I had to go back and check it. I was like, see, Dell and Woody are homies.
I've thought about attending his class. He had an opening and he posted it somewhere. I forget where it was, but it just popped up in my little para universe that someone had dropped a class of his and there was a spot. And I'm like, should I just go? Should I get super training? Like,
Dude.
Tell me I wouldn't learn something in super training.
If you went
You'd
to
learn
super
something.
training, you are going to be way better than any of us. And that kind of takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, fair point. I don't know. Like, what his trick, and it frustrates me. It's pretty transparent. Everyone's seen it, but he'll have his students do a thing that you can only do in perfect air. You know,
Yeah.
stand on a pylon and kite. Something.
Oh,
like
I know.
that. And then he makes that the exclusive measure of how competent a student is. And it's like, oh man. Now I'm not saying that his students aren't good. That's a good trick. I like that. But to act like every other instructor is putting out bad pilots because they don't walk up a trailer is insane. Dell himself couldn't walk up a trailer in my yard. The wind changes 180 degrees. Like, no one can walk up a trailer when the wind changes 180 degrees at midday here. It's normal. That's I go out and practice kiting in it. Like, see if I can handle this. All right. We gotta kite this bitch. Right?
You're going down.
And I got this little 14-meter seed, and I go out there and I'm like, man, if I kill it in this yard, then a mountain should be okay. That's the thought, you know, a day I'd actually fly in. So whenever it's like 40 and gusting, I hit it. And yeah, you had a guest who was like, don't kite midday. It's like, I want to talk to that guy.
Yeah, Stephen Nowak.
Yeah, I think he'd change his mind in North Carolina, you know, because he's worried about dirt devils and stuff. Dude, if there was a dirt devil, it would be on the news here. Like I've seen a dirt devil once in my life, and it was at the beach. There's no dirt devils in my yard. I promise you, it's never gonna happen. And I wonder what he'd think of, like, you know, gusty, thermally, like wind changing direction every few seconds kiting. If he'd be like, yeah, it's good practice, knock yourself out, or if
Go
he'd
ahead.
you know, I
Give
don't
it a
know.
shot.
But that's my thing. I'm trying to learn.
We're
Wow.
kiting in really nice laminar winds when we're
I've never done
at the
that.
beach. It's
I've
really
done it in
nice.
Radiator.
There's no challenge though. It's not hard at all. Like
I would
what,
get a truck or something. I'd go out, and make a video of myself doing his shit.
I'm going to. No, I'm serious. It's gonna happen. If he keeps
Do it.
trolling me, it's going on.
Oh,
I was ground handling my full size wing at Torrey Pines. Listen, this is bad advice, by the way. Don't listen to anything I'm about to say.
Bad advice.
It was blowing hard, probably like 15. Okay,
that's yeah. For
with
full
the full size
size
wing, it's popping me up. I'm dropping back down. Actually, this whole thing just barely healed up. I got dragged at Blossom. I mean, it
think
gave me a run for my
15
money.
at Torrey Pines is a whopper. First of all, they say it's laminar, but it's not perfect. It's still
No.
picking up and pulling down.
And you're in the Venturi.
That's the thing, you know.
Mhm.
Like I didn't have any experience with wind that goes up. Like,
Right. So
how
you
the
got
flip does wind
plucked.
go up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got plucked
Yeah.
and my first day there, my instincts were wrong too. I was grabbing the riser and stuff, and my instructor, I think it was Jordan. You probably know him.
Yep.
And he was like, Woody, if your oh shucks response is to grab the risers, then you're gonna have a bad day. And I was like, all right. And there were other times where I wasn't great, but I didn't grab the risers. Like, I'd get plucked, I'd turn around at even butt land, but I'm flying the whole time.
Yeah.
And he
Still
gave me
cool.
the positive affirmation I was looking for. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know,
you're
then
still good.
work your way up to your feet, and yeah.
He's
So,
not working at Torrey anymore, by the way. He's out
Oh.
at Saboba now.
Okay.
I think he's starting school out there or something.
Oh, okay. Yeah. He was particularly good in the weather.
Yeah.
Like, it seemed to be not just something he knew, but something that was his passion, because he got deep into it.
I'm thinking about doing maybe a show if we have to fill in a gap, doing a whole show on weather.
Really?
That'd be cool.
Yeah. I watched this last one with Kyle that he just posted, and I got
Yeah.
inspired.
The
And
Kyle Lee one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Where
he's
he
been
just kinda
pumping
shows
out
up.
those weather videos. Those are pretty good, man. He's got a style of teaching it that's pretty breaks it down, Barney style, as you'd say in the military.
Super chill.
I like a lot that like sometimes when you see weather, they show you the most perfect example. They're like, this is what a cloud street looks like, and is the most ideal cloud street that's ever streeted.
Yeah.
They're like, all right, like even I knew that, but Kyle will go out there and show more real life examples, things that are imperfect, and recognize them, and that's so much more helpful to me.
Yeah.
Than the perfect examples that I see in books or is whatever.
Have you ever read Dennis Pagan's Understanding the Weather?
More than once, yeah. And I'm almost up to understanding half, maybe.
I know. I need to read it again. I love that book, though.
Insane.
I do too.
I was taking stuff that I was learning at that time and then posting it on Steam so I could archive it and then go back and just see what I was reading and what I was learning.
It's online. I don't know.
Is it?
Someone uploaded the PDF. I actually have it bookmarked I can send it to you. But
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I did buy the book.
I gave that book back to Nick Hawks. He let me borrow it.
Let me see.
Yeah, but he's got such a good. The illustrations are good. They're fair, and he's just got such a good perspective. And I think he's a hang glider pilot, so he's not just some weather guru that's thrown out a bunch of stuff that doesn't jive with us.
Yeah, exactly. That's the weather Bible. I don't know that there's anything that matches it.
Oh yeah, you're probably right, because I think someone told me that was like the best weather book.
Yeah.
What's next on your reading list?
I think you guys might have recommended here. It's on the stairs. 1 second.
Yeah. What about you, Neil?
What's that? Books?
Yeah. What are you reading right now for flying?
For flying? Oh, there's just always a PPG Bible. I
still haven't read that yet.
No,
I need to get that one. Yeah, I'm gonna have. I'll ask Phil to get me that book when he gets back. Phil's in the Alps right now.
Oh, is he? Lucky.
I forget. I don't know if it was.
Oh yeah, Burkhard Martins. Yeah, that was. That was Alan. Alan Tho.
Yeah,
that show.
I think it was from your show. They were like, "This is the one to read."
Nice.
Like, oh, well, that's the one I'll get then.
I need to get that one too. Dang it. I'm so
busy. All right,
busy.
boys. I'm calling it a night, man. I got to get up early in the morning.
Neil, thanks, man. I really appreciate you, bro.
All right, Robert, Woody.
Good work tonight.
I have a date with a parafriend tomorrow morning, but we're going to
watch. You're going to watch bear porn?
No, we're going to the Avengers in the morning. I'm bringing Colin, my son, too.
Cool.
Nice. First thing, huh? Hey, so...
All right, yeah, everyone in the chat, thanks for hanging out and all that. Good seeing all of you.
Yeah, man. I got your link, Woody, for that book. Thank you for that.
My pleasure.
Yeah, so I was talking to. I think Mark messaged me this morning.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if he's still out of town, or do you know if he's still?
I do know he got home today.
Okay, good.
But I think he's going to visit family and stuff. I think he's going out west this weekend, so he's got plans. But anyway, he got back from his big thing today.
Mark Amenson, what's up, brother?
Hey, guys.
Hey, man.
How you doing?
Good seeing everybody tonight. I was listening for a long time there, getting good information, and then I was like, I got to say hi to these guys. It's a good Thursday night.
Heck yeah, man.
It looks like everybody's flying. Everybody's getting good weather and good conditions. People are out hitting the skies.
There's a lot of videos popping out. It's like popcorn.
Popcorn with the videos. Good one.
Yeah, so I want to try to get Mark on before the end of May. I've got 2 slots open. I messaged him. We'll see if he responds. I might just have to send him an email.
Yeah, see how he responds. I know he's going to that endless foot drag thing I mentioned.
Oh, nice.
To get a P2 rating, and there's some sort of paramotor free flight combo thing. Depending on the weather, you'll do whichever.
Free flight, nice.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go out. Yeah.
If he doesn't do that, then you two should just come out here and get your P2 here.
That was on the list. I think it was the cost. I think that
Southwest, bro, $49 a flight right now.
Cheap. But even just the training, Like, I think it'd be aggressive to get a P2 in 3 days, but possible, right? Call that aggressively possible.
Bro, P2 is just a license to learn.
I hear you, but
that's all it is. No, and you don't need 3 days. Especially you guys. You guys done plenty of ground handling.
I have a P2. So it's just Mark.
Oh, it's just Mark. Yeah, it's 1 day, bro.
You think you'd get a P2 in 1 day?
Yes, for sure. For sure.
Okay.
I'll just go ahead and speak on the behalf of all the instructors I know in San Diego, except for the ones that work at Tory.
Oh, but they're the ones.
Oh, it sounds like Mark's out then.
Oh, so I didn't know.
No.
I didn't know the other ideas. The thing about Torrey Pines, it's on so often, right?
Yeah.
Like, you can schedule a 5-day trip and assume you're going to fly like 3, 4, or 5 days.
Yeah.
Whereas if you grab another mountain, that might not be true.
Yeah, like Saboba, or even I bet if you guys talked to Giuseppe and said, "Hey, this guy has X amount of hours. He's got a bunch of footage on YouTube already. This is what he knows. This is what he's doing. What do you think about getting him his P2? Can you do it in a day?" I'm pretty sure he's gonna take a peek at a couple of those videos and go, "Okay, yeah." Because I mean, realistically, the P2 is just the basic license.
Yeah, P3 is the one you want. That's the one that tends to open more mountains.
P3 lets you fly at Torrey, and it opens up a bunch of sites here. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I really fought for the P3. That was a tough one for me, especially because I went the self-taught route, so nobody wanted to touch it with a stick. But I was able to wiggle my way in.
Nice.
Yeah.
I don't have enough cross-country time, but I aspire to get a P3. I'm just not there.
How many hours do you have
on a paramode or
free flight?
Oh, 8, 5, something like that. Not a lot.
So are you logging your free flight stuff?
I did. I used an app on my phone to log it, and then I went swimming with that phone. And yeah, so now I just estimate it, but something like that.
You should start a book now since you're pretty much brand new. I'm just not telling you what to do. But since I am telling you what to do right now, I have this wonderful little book that I use, and I write all my time. And it's just the basics: the date, type of flight or practice, the amount of ground handling time, if any, the amount of launches, and the time in the air. That's it. That's what it looks like. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Simple. And what they want, like when I went to Torrey, I was like, I got my P3, I'm ready to fly. They go, that's nice. Let me see your logbook. I'm like, oh. But I knew that they were going to ask for it, so I brought it with me. And they thought they were going to stick me on that. And I'm like, nope, I got it. And so we were cool.
Huh.
Yeah.
So even when you had your P3, Torrey was like,
yep, let me see your logbook.
Was it because
you're self-taught? What?
Was it because you're self-taught that they were like?
Nope, they do it to everybody. Yeah, and it's legit. I mean, it shows that you're passionate and meticulous about some aspect of your life. So I guess there's that.
I should get one for free flight. For the paramotor,
yeah,
I usually use the tachometer and just say that's how many hours I have.
Right.
Plus some, because it's my second paramotor. But yeah, so it kind of tracks it for you. But for free flight, a logbook would be a good idea. One thing about people who don't log exaggerate their hours wildly. Sometimes double.
Yeah. Yep.
They give themselves a lot of credit.
Good point. Yeah, that is so true. Because I'm saying it from like I've spent a couple weekends where I flew 3 times in a row, and then I come back and try to remember what I did, and then I go and look at my fly sky, and it's not the same because I'm like, felt like I was flying for 2 hours. It did. It was 20 minutes.
Right. Or guys that fly twice a month, they're like, I fly twice a week, and I'll just work the math out, and I'm a 600-hour pilot. And you're not, dude.
Yeah.
Show me your tack. Either show me your tack or stop your lying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think on the YouTube videos, I just always write at the bottom so it reminds me flight 141, whatever it might be, and then hours are right on your gauge, so you know your flights. And really, for paramotoring, it doesn't really make a difference. It's for yourself, it seems like, but it's good to keep track of. I had a book for a while, then I figured I'm making a video every time I go flying, so it's better than jotting down the numbers.
You
That's
make a video of
exactly.
every flight?
I do.
Do I make a video of every flight? Well, I haven't flown in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks.
Oh my gosh. Are you going through withdrawals?
We're getting some good weather. I still have snow in the yard. So finally the ground is dry enough in places to lay the wing out. But we had a snowstorm that was like 30 inches of snow, which sort of let us take a break from paramotoring again. But
I heard that. Yeah,
yeah,
I heard about that.
going through withdrawals. Yeah, it's safe to say.
I'm sorry, buddy. I didn't mean to open up that can too soon.
I need to. The for sale sign is out, man. Just let me know where to go.
I make a video every 10 or 15 flight. Like I don't make that many videos, I guess.
You fly a ton, man. That's awesome. And you're like you said before, your flights are 2 hours each time that you go up, or 3 hours.
1 to 2. Yeah, 2 is two's kind of the normal top. But yeah, they're always 1. So 1.5 is maybe average.
Yeah, that's where it's at. I've been just driving around on days and just looking at the quarries and the different areas around the country and where I'm going to go flying to do the next videos as it gets good. And yeah, that's kind of my game. There's a ton of cool places to go flying around here. So it's a lot of times I just stay close to the field and we go up and then we shut the motor off and come down and go back up. But the whole point of it, the reason getting them was pack the thing up and load it up and go visit friends, land in the backyard, have a bonfire, stay over, take off, whatever, but go explore with it.
There's so many trees here. Very few people have launchable yards in this area. Maybe if I got good enough to launch like down the street of a subdivision, that seems sketchy. With like street lights and yeah, I don't know. It's more risk than I need.
Yeah, that's one of the things too. I check out Google Earth, but in the driving around, I'm always checking out power lines and figuring out all those spots. I have a pretty good, like a 60-mile stretch up to my cottage, and along there, it's totally forested. But you can know where the farm fields are and where the high tension power lines are. But yeah, I think the big thing is like you got a flying buddy too. So my flying buddy is my brother, and it's just kind of working out our schedules together. But having somebody else out in the air is makes it way more fun. Being up there solo is you're just smiling at grinning ear to ear, but you're out there alone, so it's hard to share it.
Yeah, I've started like when I fly alone, I text people all the time now. I have like a whole list of people that I flip the bird to mid-flight. Like, I gotta get Shane, gotta get Kyle. Of course, Mark and Ross and Gabe need to see this. And
that's funny. Yeah, you sent me a picture when you were flying.
I think I didn't flip you off though.
No, you didn't.
The G-rated. Yeah, I took a special one for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Rob won't like the other one.
I got love. I got love for that, man.
But yeah, I sent you a picture in flight. I do that a lot.
I love it. I'm just trying to be a light in the world. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that.
I'm just trying to be a light in the world. That's all I'm trying. Look at these rings I got going on. I don't know how I feel about these.
I can't believe you took those off. They were growing on you.
Yeah, no, they do actually.
Well, before I went on the video, I looked out in the garage. I was trying to find something ridiculous, but that's all I had was kids' bike helmets and weird stuff. So I'm like, this is going to be out here for the rest of my life. I better just try to stay normal.
Staying on the chain, on the blockchain. Yeah.
Well, I think I'm gonna wrap.
All right.
I should go.
Yeah, I need to go too. I got to feed some kids. I'm watching a couple of them.
I hear that. All right. Thanks for having me on, man.
Woody, thanks. Mark, everybody who's watching, really appreciate you guys. We will see you next week. It will be with Tony Boyer. You don't want to miss that show. It's going to be a riot. He is hilarious. Woody has to pay $10 to Patreon. We'll be looking for that. And we also have a couple other shows lined up with Max Martini and Getty G are both going to come on simultaneously. We're going to talk about some ground handling, some acro, and I may even invite Alan. I think Alan will probably want to be there because Max just edited one of his videos. And I need some more paramotor guys, so I'm going to try to get Mark Honeycutt on if he's ready. And I'm pretty sure he's good at the end of May, so that'll be perfect for that. And then we actually have a girl that is breaking all the records for women in Europe. Her name is, I don't want to say it wrong, Kinga. And anyways, So that's going to be a special feature. I'll let you know when that's coming out. Really appreciate you guys.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. We'll talk to you guys later. And
see you later, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
All right.